Antichrist. He will try to say that Jesus is not Lord. He's not nice. He'll behead you if you follow Jesus' word. Antichrist, he's not nice. Take his mark, you'll pay the price. Antichrist, he's not nice. He will take away God's holy sacrifice.
All right, enough of that. Hey, everybody, welcome back to a case of the Mondays. What is that music? Oh my goodness, I gotta get rid of that. Okay, that is strange. There we go. Stop playing in the background. I gotta find that. Nobody else can hear that. That is hilarious. Okay, there we go. Hey, sorry about the technical glitch there. Welcome back to the Sunday Go to Meeting here for the month of April 2025. And good to share a few minutes with you this fine morning. I want to talk a little bit about two things today. I'm trying to put the traumatic YouTube video I just shared about the Antichrist not being nice. I've heard that before, but I kind of wonder if perhaps he's just a little bit misunderstood. I think we should give the Antichrist a second chance. With that said, two things for this Sunday Go to Meeting. I barely started it just because I was, what is this? And it started to play and I stopped it. So I haven't seen most of it. I want to do a live reaction and review of the new movie that is coming out in, I don't know, probably a week or so, King of Kings, the new animated film that no doubt has evangelicals swooning and swarming to the theaters to see this newest film that is, as we are all unfortunately aware of, Hollywood, this might be shocking, is not actually really all that committed to principles, character. That it comes down to profit, and so with the election of the current president, largely at the behest, or in large part due to the support of very conservative religious people. Hollywood's tacking. They're just trying to like, okay, we got to start coming out with more stuff. I'm sure this was, well in advance, of course, being developed before that, but there's definitely a market for these kind of films. We're going to watch the trailer. I'll pause it as I go along, give you my honest takes on that. And then lastly, as you know, Sunday Go to Meeting, we talk really about two things on these live streams. We talk about religion, particularly religion through the lens of somebody who has gone through deconstruction, who's left organized religion as a former evangelical pastor, now turned atheist, agnostic, hedonist, just pick whatever, depends on the day. We talk about religion from that vantage point. And then we also just talk about relationships. And so one of the topics that I like to also discuss, that I feel like I've done some deconstruction on that and work to try to unprogram me or reprogram me from my patriarchal, toxic, masculine, background and teaching and indoctrination here in the United States, in my religious community. So as somebody who represents that community very well these days, JD Vance, we're going to look at a recent press conference from a few weeks ago with his wife beside him, where he says something that, well, a couple of things, honestly, that it just made me do this. Just do this. I'm like, oh God. So we'll look at that really quickly. Call it a wrap for this live stream. Thank you for those of you who do watch this or have been tracking the channel as I've kind of been building it out and just having fun and being creative and learning as I go. If you enjoy the content that you find on this YouTube channel, I just encourage you to subscribe And make sure you turn on the notifications so you'll get notified on your phone whenever I post content. Usually I'm doing a short a day, something like on average, or every other day. And I am doing these live streams. And then I'm slowly catching up on adding to this YouTube channel all of the content that was on my blog, which is www.curtylewis.com. I'll put the banner up there so folks can see that. And the link is also found on my YouTube page. So with that said, why don't we dive into this? I really want to look at this King of Kings trailer and give you my reaction and my response in real time. So let me go ahead and pull this up. This produced by Angel Studios. Not sure who they are. I've got to find out more about their background, honestly. But let's go ahead and watch this trailer.
Ladies and gentlemen, excuse me for just a moment.
King Arthur!
Get down from there!
1, 2, 3!
You are not King Arthur!
Charles, you are going to tell him a great story about forgiveness.
Can we do this without the cat?
Stop right there.
All right. Angel and Mofac Studios. Okay, I gotta look them up. I'm sure that's being distributed by some other studio. But there's a couple of like key like evangelical or religious studios that have popped up over the years, trying to compete in this space and trying to obviously push a religious narrative. And that's what these folks are up to. Let's continue on.
Our story begins 2,000 years ago when baby Jesus came into the world.
Wait, stop. If it's not about a king, then I'm not interested.
This story is about the King of Kings.
If you're with me, then I know that I will.
So, okay, pause here. I love the reframing of biblical stories that happens in this world. And I've written quite a bit on this in the past. I did a series. I've still got to record the audio and then I'll upload it to YouTube called The Murderous God, where it looked at 5 classic like biblical stories that are taught to children. And it's crazy how the Bible is repackaged for the consumption of children when it's surrounded by, and even in some cases within the stories that are being told, really questionable ideas and in some ways like horrific, horrible violence that happens. But it's all repackaged and it's made to be kind of cutesy and all this kind of stuff. So I see what they're angling here. They're just trying to tell the story of Jesus, obviously, with a cute little fuzzy kitten accompanying her as she is magically whisked back into time and able to see things as they really were. So, okay, let's keep going.
It has angels and wicked kings and miracles.
Okay. Wicked kings. You gotta watch out for the wicked people. We're already creating, teaching our children this kind of black and white dichotomy, either or, us versus them, good, bad, like clear, like dichotomy in their mind. So this is the only way they can view the world. And clearly the story that's being presented is the right way to view it. And let's see what they
Oh, so you want to hear the story now?
Okay. Also, normalizing things that are impossible. That so our children are taught to embrace the world of fantasy beyond fantasy. Like it's like I love things that are made. I love fictional stories, and I love things that can include magic. But again, what we're trying to do here, what they're trying to do here, is is get children at a young, impressionable age to actually believe these things, which is one reason why, like, I believed them, literally believed these things. My fiance and I talk about this, so like, because she didn't grow up in largely that context, a highly literal religious context. And so for her, it's just mind-boggling. And it's like, no, I literally believe that, a donkey talked, and that a human being was swallowed and lived for 3 days in a whale, and then was vomited up and lived, and all of these kind of things. And somebody can walk on water. It's taking the dangerous leap of teaching people to be detached from reality and create this own pseudo reality in their mind that they're going to now base the rest of their life off of. So I don't think this is like a cutesy thing. I actually think this is part and parcel of an attempt by people to engage in dangerous religious indoctrination.
Why don't we help Jesus along the way? There's not nearly enough food here to feed all of these people.
I hope this helps.
Look! There's something out there!
Don't be afraid. This was a miracle to some, but a threat to others. Why don't we just turn the people against him?
Open up my eyes and see I'm not only wishing, dreaming.
Okay, again, I was talking to another good friend of mine who's also left and deconstructed her religious beliefs, who, this is like a character, this is a cartoon version of a depiction of historical barbarism, like crucifixions. They really did happen. Okay, so that's not in question. And it may have happened to this historical person, Jesus, of which we actually in reality know very, very little about, other than the way he's been repackaged by early church leaders. So, but that we're exposing, ironically, right? I mean, like I was told, and I grew up in an age where evangelical parents were obsessing over violence in media and in video games. And yet we're going to come up with a cutesy little way to depict the crucifixion of somebody, and we're going to expose children to it. And we're not even thinking about potential harm that does, and then the way it's connected ultimately to radical religious ideologies.
Thank you.
Can't we help it?
Yes, but not the way you think.
Thank you, Daddy.
It's time. This is what my father wants.
Okay, now pause there for a second. Okay, so now we're talking about like parental dynamics, because in Christian theology, and this plays out in multiple relationships, not only like father to children, but sadly even in husband and wife, is there's a depiction where, of course, and this will probably lead really well into looking at JD Vance's video into patriarchy, where the male figure is synonymous with the divine. It's like a delegated authority. And we're normalizing that in this case, God the Father wants his son to be crucified to the point, or tortured and crucified to the point where he dies, and that's normal. And this human father is teaching their daughter that this is normal. It's not normal. If you're watching this and you've left Christianity or you've left organized religion that has those kinds of like blood sacrifice elements to it, that is not normal, and it's not good. And if you're in it and you're starting to question things behind the scenes, you're not wrong. You're onto something that should not be normal or right has been presented to you as normal and right for a long time. And it's really sad that major studios are using this medium to indoctrinate children to think that these kind of things are normal.
Accept it, and so should you.
Okay, and so should you. I think like also this sense of like, just accept it. This is normal. Okay.
You see, a true king serves his subjects.
Okay, hard stop. Like, again, and in that obedience, a true king. So okay, so they're trying to like mix ideas here of like humility. This is where like the Bible, I always tell people, while I'm obviously highly critical of the Bible, it isn't that the Bible is entirely void of things that we can learn from. It doesn't teach some positive lessons. Even some of the words of Jesus, where he talks about the type of leader, the type of king is one who's serving, who's giving their life. That's all good, but notice how it's conflated with all these other toxic doctrinal ideas, and that's where it gets really dangerous, and it draws people in and it keeps them hooked because it's this weird brew, this weird concoction of some ideas that seem to like kind of on a very intuitive level. Like, that seems right. I get that. But then it's all meshed together with these incredibly toxic ideas and this entirely this reinforcement of magical thinking against reality and teaching that fantasy really is real life. And look, I mean, look at this. Look at the people they got to be in this movie. So clearly there's money to be made, and where there's money to be made, there's also actors who don't give a shit about whether or not, or aren't even doing their due diligence to think about what this is potentially teaching children at a very young age. Really unfortunate, because I'm just looking at these. I mean, some of these are like, I love some of these actors do great work in their films. It's really unfortunate that they're lending their talent to this form of what I consider spiritual, emotional childhood abuse through this medium of indoctrination.
If you have faith, you'll become stronger than before. It is a great story.
King of Kings from Angel Studios is the first major animated biblical movie since The Prince of Egypt. So we want to do something special to celebrate.
Okay, and which, yeah, totally. Like, I remember when The Prince of Egypt came out, it was like the evangelicals lost their minds, and I used to have the soundtrack for that thing. It was like, oh my God, the music's so like moving, and it had a whole shitload of amazing actors in it as well. And then so one of the main marketing strategies for, by the way, if you're not from a religious context, when these films come out every now and then, there's a huge marketing push at the local church level. Like, studios intentionally reach out on a massive scale to mobilize congregations and expose them to this, to get people in the theaters to see this. So I guarantee that right now, it's probably already been happening for weeks, that this trailer has been shown at church services, shared at youth group meetings, shared in children's Sunday school, all that to build them up so that they'll go, and this will bring in quite a few pennies. And here are the children that are we're talking about, that are the subjects of this spiritual abuse.
For each ticket you pre-order, you get entered to win a home theater system, so you can watch the.
And there we have it. Religion is brought together with capitalism in a beautiful group hug. It's like, watch this story about the Son of God being like tortured and resurrected and walking on water, all that stuff. And then you could have a massive, home studio to watch this and other forms of religious indoctrination. It's perfect. It's perfect. You got to bring them all. You got to bring them all together. You got to connect the dots. They're nailing it here, Angel Studios.
The best movies together with your family, and a family trip to.
Straight again. I think it's assume a straight, Christian, American loving family, no doubt, is like, that's always assumed. Oh my God, here we go. Where are they going to take them?
Both London, England, and the Holy Land.
And the
Your
Holy
family
Land.
could ride on the Eye of London and then visit the places where Jesus walked. The earlier you order,
Yeah, because the Zionist marketing travel industry is also massive. Like if you're watching this and you grew up in the evangelical world, you know what I'm talking about. It's crazy how they have married Zionism with capitalism, with this, go on a pilgrimage to the Holy Land and see the places where Jesus walked, allegedly walked. Very dubious history involved in all of that, but it's like the perfect combination of religious indoctrination, right? I mean, if you could get your children to do this, and maybe even go to the Holy Land and see where Jesus walked. I mean, no wonder why people grow up and it's so hard to let this go, because the lengths to which people go to manipulate and to frame their worldview through such a warped lens is pretty impressive in a really sobering and concerning way.
For your tickets, the more entries you get. So click the link to find out how to enter.
All right. Jeez. All right. Good God. All right. Enough of that. Let's. Okay. Well, that's gonna bother me. That's gonna mess up my day. Well, I honestly, it couldn't be a better transition, because, like I said, there's certain aspects of patriarchal thinking and that are so latent within certainly what I understand of Christian theology and church history, that it couldn't be a greater transition to another moment that I wanted to just show, and that is this moment where JD Vance is giving a speech recently, a couple of weeks ago, and he talks about his wife, who's right there, and it's good God. Okay, let's just pull it up. Here we go. All right. There, we'll pause it as we go along here, and I'll give you my take on this. Here we go.
I think it's really simple here, and I have to say, I'm thrilled, of course, to have everybody here. Thrilled to have Paul hosting us, but I'm especially thrilled to have my lovely wife here behind me.
Okay. Well, notice that the position, like in that world of highly religious patriarchal thinking, the woman's place is always by his side, behind him, by his side. He's clearly the assumed leader, the one to be followed, and she's there as, to use biblical language that we often reinforced when I was in the cult, the helpmate for the husband who has this divine biblical mandate to lead the family, to lead the nation, and so forth. And so there she is in her rightful place, according to his BS beliefs.
And I think she's doing a great job as.
Okay, in time. Oh wait, he says great job as
second lady of the United.
Okay, as the second lady. Okay, so yeah, of which there's of course a first lady, who also again is always behind the male leader. So I mean, a great job, according to the way he defines, is a woman's job, not to have his job. That's assumed that is not the way it should be. Even though they might dance around that a little bit, but trust me, I know the religious mind very well. I have 2 religious degrees, was professionally in ministry for 17 years, taught the Bible for a quarter of a century, and was in the cult for over 40 years. I know what they're thinking here, and that's exactly it. A woman's place is still ultimately subservient to the male, God-ordained male role in society, whether it's in the family or it's with governance or in business. All of these things, they really believe that. Okay,
United States, and I'm so proud to have her back by my side. And here's the thing, because the cameras are all on, anything that I say, no matter how crazy, Usha has to smile and laugh and celebrate it.
Let's sit with that for a minute, okay? So like he's joking about this. And the point is he's joking, but not entirely joking. It's like, right? You know, when people say like, it's like a half joke, he's saying it, but in jest, but not really. And that's 100% the case here. He really does expect her to do that. That I know that as somebody who's tried to unpack and try to deconstruct from my own patriarchal mind, that those assumptions, what he's joking about, the assumptions are very much true. And as I've listened to the pain and just gotten a glimpse of the pain that women have suffered for centuries and for millennia under male oppression, that this is really true. This is that they feel, and I actually, my heart is breaking for Usha, I believe her name, and that she really feels like she has to do this, and that he's making light of it is actually, it's not even humorous anymore. Like, I'm getting angry just watching this and listening to this, and as somebody who is now striving to be an ally for women as well as for other minority communities that feel deeply repressed by male cisgender dominance, this makes me pretty damn pissed off. Let's see what else he says at the end.
So I'm going to be good though, honey. I'm going to keep to the script here. But I think that
okay, we'll stop there. That's basically it. So he and I always love it when they feign when they feign this like humility, that you know, I'm going to be a good husband. I won't cause any troubles. As if he's like, just kind of like, see, you have a little bit of influence. You have a little bit of power in my life. But as long as you stay secondary, you stay behind me, you stay to my side, you stay to be the first or the second woman to the male president or the male vice president or whatever it might be, like, you know. And I'm like embarrassed, honestly, because I can think of times in my life where I jokingly talked about like I thought it's like, oh, you know, I'm even reflecting now. I work very closely in my current job. There's me and another female that lead this particular program, and I got to be careful that I don't end up making these like, well, you know, yeah, I'm the manager, but you know, but this person really gets things done and all that stuff. And it's like, now it's bothering me now that I even just think about it, because it's like, it's like giving partial credit, but never thinking about how the assumption behind that is that that's, for most women, the trauma is that that's where they're always going to be. They're never going to be in my position, right? Now, thankfully, I am in an industry and organization where there's a lot of female leadership in the nonprofit sector. There needs to be more. There's, especially at the senior level, there's still, in many cases, a real issue there, particularly with minorities as well. But I'm just like, I'm trying to be honest, even in this moment, that this bothers me, and it's causing me to reflect on myself, that like the trauma that those kind of lighthearted, this he thinks is like a lighthearted joke, that the pain that digs at, that scratches at, is real. That trauma is real. The oppressive systems that have kept women down is real, and it needs to be addressed. And it's not going to be done by him making these kind of stupid ass jokes. So Yeah, that's just the two things that I wanted to draw attention to this morning. And now, God damn it, I'm in a bad mood. Okay, I'm going to try to rebound and enjoy the rest of the day with my kids and my fiance. But listen, a lot of great things are happening. I want to encourage you, come back sometime on a Sunday morning at 11 a.m. I'm always here. If folks join me on live, we want to talk about these things. We're always willing to have some conversation. People can drop comments or ask questions, and we'll do it in real time. This just kind of transitions into the next time you'll see me on live stream. The third Mondays of the month is Case of the Mondays, where we talk about social justice through the lens of politics, economics, and media. And boy, do we have a lot to talk about. There's some amazing things that are happening in terms of people standing up. The protests that happened even yesterday, and they're going to continue to go. I've brought attention to the general strike movement that is building momentum here in the United States. There's so much that's happening. So I suppose that is a silver lining. I hate that expression, to the moment that we are in, is that when the forces of corrupt, egotistical, greedy power and misogyny, all of those things become so blunt, like they're not even thinly veiled anymore. Hopefully it starts to wake up the masses and we start to actually do something about it. The majority of people who just want to live in a safe and peaceful and free world. And that's all we're asking for. It's not a lot. And our governments and our big businesses seem hell-bent on not wanting to give us those things, also that they can remain in control and that they can have the maximum amount of wealth. A lot happening. Come and join me on the third Thursday for a Case of the Mondays. And listen, have a good rest of your Sunday.